them as Guru Dakshin to go and attack Drupad's kingdom to get, but don't kill him. I only want to give him a lesson. I'm actually not greedy for the land, but I want to give him a lesson because he was a Brahmana. So he went. So they attacked and Drupad, they conquered Drupad, brought him before Drona. He was very much ashamed. So Drona told, so now the kingdom is now mine because I conquered you, but I give you a half of the kingdom now, or you can even have the whole kingdom. But the king was very much offended because of that, because he became defeated, and he stayed alive. They didn't kill him. And even he lost his kingdom and got back his kingdom as a dakshina, as a charity, practically, what he should do. So he became very offended. So he employed some brahmanas to perform a yajna, sacrifice, to get a very powerful son who will kill Drona. And that son who appeared, there was a female and a boy who appeared in the yajna. One was Drona and the other one was Draupadi, daughter of Drupad. And the boy became known as Drishtyadumna. And now Drona, he knew about that. He knew about this son, that the son appeared, and about the destiny that he will be killed by him if there will be a war in the future. But still, when Drishtyadumna came to him and asked him to become, if he could teach him Dhanurveda, Drona didn't refuse him. He accepted him as a shishya, as disciple. Although he knew in the future he will be killed by him, by his own disciple. So Duryodhana reminded his guru, Dhanurveda guru, about this, that you did actually a mistake, because you empowered practically your own enemy, and so now this enemy is leading the party of the Pandavas, the army. He's the general in chief, and he's very intelligent, very smart. You see what kind of nice arrangement he made. And now we have to fight against them. And he counted and named all the different great heroes on that side who are fighting for the sake of the Pandavas. And he explained that they are all Maharathis and Atirathis, mainly Maharathis, because he underestimated them a little, purposefully. He underestimated the power of the Pandavas. He's told, this is quite a small army in comparison with our big army, and we have not only Maharathis or Ekarathis or Halfrathis, because there were also Halfarati in this calculation of different rathas, different fighters. But our general, Bhishma, our grandsire, he's not a Maharathi, he's an Atirathi. Atirathi, he can fight with hundreds of Maharathas, and he will defeat them. So therefore we're very sure that with Bhishma on our side, we will have victory. So he glorified Bhishma, and he he also inspired Drona to fight and not take side. He warned him, don't take side. Don't take side with the Pandavas. Don't make the same mistake like with Duryodhana, with Dhritarashtra. No, sorry. Too many names now. Drishtadyumna. Don't make the mistake like with Drishtadyumna. Don't be partial. Don't give them any sympathy. Take fully the side of our party. So Duryodhana was expert, diplomat. He knew how to take people on his side. Even from Pandava's side, he took people, soldiers on his side, because he was so diplomatic. He knew how to bring them, how to bribe them, and how to speak to them that they will take his side. That's diplomacy. That's one of the art of a king. Although he was not a king at that time. But he was very clever. He had a good intelligence to be like that. Although he was ill-minded. He was ill-minded. He was against Pandava. He was against Krishna. Krishna wanted to come to make peace, personally, to Duryodhana. But Duryodhana didn't accept. He even challenged Krishna. So, although Krishna wanted to make peace. So, Bhagavad Gita is not a war book. It's not a war book, but the war was unavoidable. And it became a purpose or a situation where Bhagavad Gita, this old knowledge who became lost during the different ages, to become revived again by Krishna himself. So Krishna himself took part on the battle, but he was not ready to fight. He told, I will not fight, but I will become your charioteer, Arjuna. I will become your Sarati, Partha Sarati. So therefore Krishna is glorified as one of his many names as Partha Sarati, as the charioteer of his own devotee. He became the charioteer of Arjuna, Partha. So, and that moment when Duryodhana started to glorify his army, and Bhishma, he blew his conch. And it is described here in the Gita, the conch sounded like the roar of a lion. So it was quite impressive, Duryodhana's estimation of sound, of powerful sound, because he was very impressed of Bhishma, who was, of course, a very, very great Atirati, a very great fighter. And he got a blessing also. And he knew he got blessing. Bhishma got blessing. Nobody could kill him. He would not die unless he decides himself to die. So therefore he was quite convinced, yes, our side we will become victorious. And then Bhishma, to encourage his prince or king, Duryodhana, he blew his conch. And then after him, all other blew their conches on their side. So to conch on the war field is always a sign that the party is ready. They have horns, to blow, or conches. So they all showed, we are ready for to the opposition. We are ready for the fight. We open the fight. So because one party always has to begin, and then the next party has to respond. So then the responding party was Krishna now. He started to blow his conch to accept the challenge. Because if the other party will not blow conch, then no real war will happen. So both will have to give a signal to each other. We are ready now. And now Krishna blew his conch, Panchajanya, very famous. Lord Vishnu's conch was also Krishna's conch because he is the original Vishnu. All the symbols or weapons of Lord Vishnu also Krishna can have at any time if he needs them for a certain purpose in the mission. Because Krishna is Vasudev in Kurukshetra. Means all Vishnu forms are in him. And he came to speak the Bhagavad Gita, to establish Dharma, to destroy the demons and the demoniac rulers, and to protect his devotees. So that is Krishna's eternal mission, and in every avatar, when he comes, or he comes himself, he has the same mission. And he always takes these symbols or these weapons he has with them. Of course, through the Leela, they appear, the weapons appear before Krishna. And also to Arjuna, although these weapons are their eternal associates or eternal paraphernalia. So Krishna and also Arjuna, and then Brikadar, Bhima, Sen, and Yudhishthir, all blew their respective conches. They all had names. Like Arjuna's conch here is named. Somebody remembers? Devadat. Devadat. And what else we have? Poundra is from Bhima. And Ananta Vichai. Or that is from Yudhishthir. But I think that's the next verse. Devadat, Panchajanya, Poundra. So only these now, and these verses we have these conjuls. Next verses we have all the conjuls named by the other Pandavas. And they were blowing these conches one after another. And it's described that Arjuna is sitting on or standing with Krishna, the Supreme Lord, on the same mighty, very gorgeous and opulent chariot with four white horses in front of that chariot. So this chariot was given to him, as stated here, by Agni. So the story, I would like to mention short the story, how Krishna and Arjuna got their different weapons and their chariot. So it happened in Khandava. It's described in the Adi Parva of Mahabharata. There's the Khandava forest. Khandava forest was a big, dense jungle with many ferocious, very dangerous animals in it. And there was also the house inside there, housing of a demon. What was his name? Maya Danava. And there was also a snake who was a friend with Indra, Takshaka. Takshaka, later on, his destiny was that he will kill who? Parikshit, with his poison. It was a snake bird, Takshaka. And he was friend of Indra. And Indra was always protecting him from different dangers. And he was living in that forest, in that jungle. One time when Krishna and Arjuna came to that jungle of Khandava forest, one Brahmana appeared before them, who had a golden complexion and golden hair. He was very effulgent. And it turned out that it was Agni Dev. And Agni Dev, he had a request to Krishna and Arjuna because he knew Nara, Narayana, Rishi, the two personality of Godhead who are in the Himalayas, they're residing in you. You are actually them also. Because whenever Krishna appears, and also Arjuna, his eternal associate, their expansions are also in them. So therefore they are also Nara and Narayana. And Nara and Narayana, they're very expert also in weapon. In art, they're very good archers. And Agni Dev, he knew that. So he asked them, please help me. I have a problem. Because since some time, because I participated in one great yagya, where they offered me a lot of ghee to the fire, I have a digestion problem because of too much eating ghee. And you can help me by getting the herbs from these forests, because they are in this forest. There's very beautiful, very nice, powerful herbs who can cure my digestion problem. But the problem is this forest is protected by Indra. So whenever I want to come and devour this forest with my fire, Indra comes with his clouds and he pours the rain down, and so I'm powerless. I cannot fulfill my desires. So therefore I need your help. But then Arjuna told, but my dear Agni, we have no weapons. If you can supply us weapons for me and my friend Krishna, then we can do that. So then Agni, he has contact with Varuna. Varuna Dev, he's the god of ocean, of the water. He's a treasurer also. He can keep very important material or also weapons from the demigod side, and he can keep them secret in his water. So Agni called Varuna and requested him, can you please give the mighty Gandiva bow, what you one time received from Soma, the moon god. Soma, the moon god. He gave you one time this very powerful Gandiva bow. With this Gandiva bow, he's so powerful that even thousands of other bows or weapons cannot fight or has no chance to destroy this weapon. So please give it to Arjuna. Therefore he's known as Dhananjaya. Dana means bow, and Jaya means victory. He was always victorious with his bow, mighty bow, the Gandiva. And there were also need of skiver. How is it in skiver? Where you have the arrows in it? Quiver. The quiver. So there were 2 quiver given to him also, to Arjuna. Because of that's also the desire of Arjuna. Please give me quiver so that I can release all my divine weapons. Because with the quiver, with the arrows, you can, if you have as we know, in the quiver, it has limited arrows. But in the quiver of Arjuna, the 2 quivers he received, they supplied unlimited arrows with whom he can release different kind of weapons, astral weapons, with his mantra. Because he knew different mantras he received from different sources, from Shiva, from heavenly planets, that all later on happened. So he got different kinds of mantras to release different kinds of weapons who are very powerful to destroy great armies. And then there was, of course, also need of a chariot. So a chariot was also supplied. Therefore, it's described here. Krishna and Arjuna were sitting on a very effulgent, very great, powerful chariot, also given by Agni, supplied by Agni. And the 4 horses, white horses. The white horses were also supplied by Agni. But they were given by the Gandharvas. The Gandharvas, they gave the white horses who were pulling or dragging this chariot. So in this way, and also Krishna, he got his Sudarshan chakra, where eternally belongs to him. Sudarshan chakra belongs always to Vishnu. And the Kaumodaki club, the 2 weapons of Lord Vishnu, always belong to Vishnu, also to Krishna. But in this Leela, it was supplied by Agni to fight against Indra. So then when Agni devoured this forest, Indra sent his clouds and poured down rain. But then by the arrows of Krishna and Arjuna, they defeated, they chased away Indra's clouds and also saved the life of Maya Danava. They also saved the Taksha's life because he had another purpose later on, also this is described in the Bhagavatam in relation with Parikshit. So, but he saved, they received, I don't know, so they didn't kill Maya. And Maya, he was very thankful because he took shelter of Arjuna and Krishna. And Krishna and Arjuna protected him. And as thankfulness to them, he built them the assembly house. An assembly house who was more powerful or more gorgeous, more beautiful, like that of Dwaraka or that even of the heavenly planets. Duryodhana later on, he came to that assembly house and didn't know where is ground, where is water. And he became very jealous on that house. And when he saw that house, he went to his father and he told, the Pandavas, I cannot tolerate, they have always so much opulences. Although we always try to kill them, to get rid of them, they become more and more opulent. And I'm very jealous, I'm very envious on them. And I cannot live with that anymore. As long as these Pandavas live, I cannot live anymore in happiness. So therefore, my dear father, we have to call them for a gambling match. And in that gambling match, they became cheated about their kingdom and themselves. And then later on, the war, they had to go in exile and then came back successfully, but still Pandavas didn't got their rightful claim, their kingdom, not even land underneath the tip of a needle. So Krishna and the Pandavas were forced to do something for the Dharma, to establish the rightful claim of the Pandavas to be the kings. And because they became cheated in so many different ways, so Krishna, he took the side of the Pandavas, although he is neutral. But whenever Krishna although he's neutral, but he sees that the devotee are in difficulties or cheated, then Krishna will take the side of the devotee to help him and to give him all the power. Although he didn't took personally part in the war, he completely controlled the war and everything what happened. Therefore he's here addressed as Rishikesh. He's the master of the senses. He's the master of everyone's senses. So therefore it was Krishna who is in everyone's heart who directed Arjuna and everyone present on that battlefield. And it was Krishna who decided that I'm the time. Later on he told, I'm the time, I will come and I devour everyone here. And you, Arjuna and the Pandavas, you only can become instrumental. Nimitta matam bhavya savasajin. You can become just instrumental. So Krishna here, he blows his horn and the Pandavas, and their mighty sound of this divine conscious, who were not from material sources, from earthly or any material universal source. It was a celestial or divine source, because they are all eternal associates of Krishna, the Pandavas, and Krishna had his conch, and their ones. So their combined sound was so powerful that it is described that the heaven, the sky and the earth was shaking, vibrating because of the sound, combined sound from the Pandava side. And that pierced the hearts of the opposite. It pierced them, it cracked their hearts, it caused them great pain. First, Duryodhana, he felt jubilant when you heard Bhishma's sound of conch. Became very jubilant, hopeful. Yes, we will winners, because now Bhishma Dev is sounding his horn, his Atirati. But when you heard all these horns, these conches blown by Krishna and Arjuna and all the Pandavas, the sound was thousands of times greater than that, and it cracked their hearts. That means it created pain in them. They became afraid. It shook them really. But then later on something else happened. Although everyone was ready then for fight and given a signal that we are ready, then suddenly Arjuna became weak and he started to lament and throw away his bow and arrows, quiver, throw them away on the ground, and told Govinda, I will not fight. And that's in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita here, where Krishna, so this is setting the scene, how everything became ready, that the Bhagavad Gita will be spoken. Here Prabhupada also is pointing out Krishna has different names, addressed in different names: Nandanandana, Yashodanandana, Rishikesh, Parthasarathi, and Govinda, and so on. Because Krishna has thousands of names, and all the names, although he has no name, in the Bhagavatam stated God has no name, but still he has names, so many names, thousands of names, because of his leelas and his relationship with his devotees, with his dear ones. And that is what makes Krishna very significant. Although he is neutral, he takes the side of devotee. He even has so many names related with the devotees. And Krishna becomes glorified by these names. Since time immemorial, one can chant and glorify the names of Krishna. And there is no hard and fast rules of chanting these holy names. So therefore Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, devotees are always chanting these dear names of Krishna, especially in relation with his devotees, because Krishna especially responds or relates to these names. So if somebody chants, the names were very dear and very closely and intimately related with Krishna, then Krishna responds himself. He also reveals himself in that mood to the devotee who chants these names. Therefore Lord Chaitanya, he introduced the chanting of the holy name. Sound is very powerful. Sound in war is powerful, right? It is conscious. It gives a sign. It creates fear, and emotions in both sides of the parties who hear the sound. And because this sound is related with Krishna, it is the original sound. So therefore, everyone becomes very much moved by this kind of sound. And the best of this sound is to chant Krishna Nam, Krishna's name. So if we chant Krishna's name, this sound will change our heart, will change our consciousness. It will not crack the heart. On the battlefield, there was cracking of the heart of the opposite. Arjuna's side became enthused. Like when Nisingadev roared, it cracked everyone's hearts. The demons, women got miscarriages. And the demons were running away in all directions out of fear of this roar of Lord Nisingadev. Even the demigods were unsure how to relate now to the Lord in the form of a half man, of half lion. Only Prahlad, he was peaceful because he knew the Lord. He knew the Lord. Everyone who is not loving the Lord, who is not surrendering to the Lord, he cannot know the Lord really, as he is. And therefore sometimes they can become confused about certain appearance or arrangements given by the Lord. But the devotee never becomes confused. He never accuses Krishna and blames him, oh, it's happened because of you, because it happens of your arrangement. That only non-devotee will do, or those who have little faith in Krishna. But those who have full faith in Krishna, full surrender to Krishna, who love Krishna full of heart, who cannot live without Krishna for even one moment, like the Pandavas, they had full faith in Krishna. Prahlad also full faith in Krishna and the Supreme Lord. Therefore he was not confused when his Lord appeared as half man, half lion, in such a ferocious mood. Because he understood Krishna can appear in any form, he can make any kinds of arrangement. Still is my Lord. And I don't have to be afraid. He's my well-wisher. He always takes care for me. So that's the conviction of a devotee. A non-devotee or half-devotee cannot have this conviction. They always try fault in Krishna, seeing fault in Krishna. Why he make this kind of arrangement? Why he has to appear in these different forms, as fish or as a boar or as lion or etc. Or even when Krishna comes as Krishna, demons criticizing him, who he is. They're confused about his position. Is he now a cowherd boy or is he a king? Or what is he? Or is he a renegade? Is he a coward who runs away from the battle? So they always try to see fault in Krishna. But the devotee always becomes proud in Krishna. And that proud in Krishna, that proud, what makes a devotee proud about Krishna, to have such a wonderful Lord, this minimizes our own pride and our own arrogance and miserliness and all material disqualifications. Therefore, only by the mercy of Krishna and coming with his eternal associates like Arjuna, his friend, we can know about these glories of devotional service, the glories of relationship between the Lord and his devotee. And that the Lord always is favorable for his devotees, and the devotee always favorable for Krishna. He never likes to argue with Krishna, or challenge Krishna, or try to see a fault in him. He knows Krishna is always wants to have the best. Therefore, always the devotee accepts this arrangement and mercy, and is ready to do anything for Krishna's pleasure. So that's devotee, and that we all have to learn by reading regularly Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. We can learn how to actually become devotee, to follow the footsteps of the eternal associates of the Lord, as described in the Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I stop here. Hare Krishna. Maybe any question?
This story with Drona, Pandavas, and Drupad. So, Drupad was defeated by Pandavas, but
not only Pandavas, by all Kauravas, also Duryodhana was there.
But anyway, he felt offended by Drona, not by Pandavas and Kauravas. So can you, the psychology, what's...
because the crisp, or this argument, I would say, this union, or this problem, the problem was between Drupad and Drona, not between his disciples. Like if two gurus have a problem with each other, they don't have to have the problems with their disciples. Not. Problem starts when the guru is making, making politics with their disciples, and make a fight against the other disciples from other gurus, and then we have problem. But that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Only Drona engaged his disciples as Guru. He only asked them, you bring me Guru Dakshin, because they were Kshatriyas. And they were his disciples. They had no other choice than to do that, to follow his request, because that was his request for Guru Dakshin. He didn't ask for money. He didn't ask for gold, for Brahman thread or flower garland, or land or whatever. Just wanted revenge. He only wanted to have a revenge. No, actually, he wanted to give him a lesson. Not even revenge. Revenge is also one side, but actually, because he was a Brahmana, he's not in need of land. He was not in need of money, but he wanted just to give Drupad a lesson. No, you cannot do that. This is you are a king, and as a king, you have to stay to the main principle of the codex of a king. It's satyam. To stay for the truth, to fight for the truth, and be truthful. If you become a liar, although this happened when they were children, they cannot be taken very seriously, of course, but because Drona was such a strict Brahmana, he thought he cannot do that. You cannot say, I give you some land or kingdom, half of kingdom, because we are very good friends, and then after that he's changing his mind. So it was not Arjuna's or Duryodhana's or the Pandavas' problem when they attacked the kingdom. And it was not Drupad who actually became angry at them, because he anyway became defeated. And if you become defeated by the army of your enemy, who is Drona, it's like the president of a country has an army and he conquers another country. That means the victory goes to the president. Right? All the blame therefore goes to the president, or victory goes to the president. And so now in this case, Drona became the victor. He was the winner. But he didn't want to have the land, therefore he showed to his friend, his previous friend, I'm not like you. I'm a Brahmana, so I give you half of the kingdom. But I conquered from you. So you can have it. But this was too heavy for Kshatriya ego. So he became very offended. He cannot tolerate that. He would prefer to die than to tolerate such an offense. So therefore he knew, I cannot conquer Drona with ordinary personalities in my kingdom, so he asked Brahmanas to create a person who will kill him. And that happened. Dhristadyumna appeared then, who killed him later on, and a certain day in the battle. Okay?
I thought it was an interesting point that the first conch shell to be blown on the Kaurava side was by the great
Bhishma
Dev. However, on the other side, the driver was the first one to blow the conch shell. Generally, we don't consider the driver as important.
Yeah, right. Sarati, no? Partha Sarati.
In the thing.
Yeah.
It's just the driver, right? Of course, he was no ordinary driver, but still, he was the driver, but he was the first one to shatter the hearts of the other side.
Yeah, because he's Rishikesh. He's in everyone's heart. He knew the situation, and he knew Arjuna will not blow it, because he knew his weakness. He will become overcome by weakness, because that was arranged by Krishna's Yoga Maya. On illusory energy, to put him in this mood so that he could instruct him in the Gita. So he knew Arjuna will not blow, so I have to start with it. And when Krishna hears me, when Arjuna hears my sound, then he will follow. Therefore, when Arjuna blew, then others were following. So, one after another blew their conch, respective conch, not all together at one time. That's also significant in the Pandava side, one after another. and still the sound was combined, was so powerful that it shaked the heaven and the earth. So.
There's also a story in Mahabharata illustrating how powerful Arjuna's conch was. I read it in the Mahabharata. On the battlefield one night, two kings approached Arjuna and they said, "Tomorrow we're challenging you," right at the beginning of the day.
Mm.
And these two kings, one of them had one Akshahini and the other one had two Akshahini. So they assemble on the battlefield the next day, the two kings on one side, with their Akshahinis, 3 Akshahinis, and on the other side was Krishna and Arjuna. So they wanted to start fighting, so Arjuna blew his conch out. When Arjuna blew his conch out, the sound was so powerful that immediately all the animals, all the horses and the elephants and the men, immediately passed stool and urine, they panicked. They started to run backwards, run into one another. It was totally chaotic, and there was no fighting. Just by the sound.
Just by the sound of. Jai Ho. All victory. In which parva?
In the battle part of somewhere.
That and the battle part.
I have a big Mahabharata,
That means in the full edition.
Yeah.
Too difficult to read for me. I only read once a long time ago the condensed version. Krishna Dharma, I think. What's his name? Huh?
Yeah, I know.
Krishna Dharma. So, nobody else? We have still a little time for question, answer.
Question about Krishna's army. How they feel themselves. They appeared on the other side of their master, and who was in this army? It's like Yadus?
From in which side?
Krishna's army.
Krishna's army.
How they feel when they appeared on the other side, and they should.
How they feel.
They feel how they should fight with their master, with Krishna. Who was in this army?
Who was it? Who was there? Who was there in this army?
Duryodhana got the army, Krishna's army.
On the other opposite side.
Yeah, how did they feel? Because they.
That's a good question. I was not there. How can I tell you how they are feeling? Educated.
The spirit of a kshatriya is so strong that they will do as they're ordered, and they will do their duty simply because of the spirit of a kshatriya. I've seen some little examples.
You have seen her.
That's
Nowadays
just
kshatriyas.
speculation.
Nowadays kshatriyas.
Nowadays there's a few people like that.
Yeah, but from nowadays examples. Huh?
Very rare nowadays.
Yeah, but you say you have seen them.
Huh?
You have seen them, you told.
Yeah, once in a while you run into somebody who has a strong set of principles.
Yeah, but it's
And they can't be bought.
in today's examples. Huh? Contemporaries. Yeah. Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada was one of those examples. Because he was ordered by a spiritual master and he had to go against a whole society which was set up by a spiritual master in order to set it up and in order to preach Lord Chaitanya's mission.
No.
no less of the rest of us.
Yeah. Transcendental Kshatriya. Spiritual warrior. But it was also interesting, no, it's actually, no, it's clear. Because about the story with Drupad and Drona, because Drona took the side of the Duryodhan later on when the war happened, before it appeared, and Drupad took Arjuna's side, Pandava's side. That also has a story, about the Pandavas in their last year living incognito. They had to live 1 year incognito, right? And they lived in Drupad. No, not in Drupad. Virat. That's another one, sorry. I mix it up. Drupad and Virat, that's different personalities. But anyway, Drupad took Pandava's side. Because Arjuna won the hand of Draupadi in the contest to shoot the eye of the fish in the wheel there. You heard about the story, huh? So that means Draupadi was related with Arjuna and Pandavas. She became the combined wife of all five. And Drupad and also his son, of course, because he was destined to kill Drona, so they took side of Pandava. Good. Can stop, huh?